Good evening, everyone. I am your host, Francis Dupree. Welcome to Transparent Tuesday. I wanted to give you guys an update. As I mentioned to you guys before, I do have two families that God's Wills Ministry has adopted for back to school. And I just wanted to show you guys this is a backpack for, sorry, okay, here we go. This is the backpack for one of our families. I'm not going to disclose the families because, people don't like to let other people know a lot of times when they need help. And I feel like, I'm protecting their privacy. But here's school supplies. Here is a pencil box that also has school supplies in it. And she also has an outfit. So I know that a lot of schools are going to start their first semester with distance learning because of what's going on in the world right now. But as I said previously, I'm still looking for two more families. Please message me some kind of way. This is not something that I'm not going to broadcast you if you need the help. You know, it's not everybody's business. I just want to be a blessing. So you can private message me on any one of my social media accounts. And you can email me, or if you have my cell phone number, you can always send me a text or call me and let me know. That way I can help whoever is in need. This is going to be sent off because she does not live close. And as I told you guys, this is not something that is just for the state of California or the surrounding area of the high desert. This is for any state. We have UPS, we have FedEx, we have the Postal Service. If the internet bill is something that is needed to be helped with, we have money orders. There's no reason no one can receive the help that they need. So let's get to the nitty gritty. If you guys do not know, I told you I am still in training. I'm still progress. It takes a village. I am learning a lot of things right now. I'm taking a lot of different classes. One of the classes that I'm taking is spiritual warfare. And I'm learning about different spirits and different demons and how to battle them, how to pray them away, how to battle in the spiritual realm. My teacher is the wonderful evangelist Danielle Williams McCourt. Danielle, if you're watching or if you see the replay, this is not going to be your only class. This is well needed. So be prepared. If you start getting bombarded with people asking you when is your next class going to be after this first session. Last night, I don't want to send any disrespect or say it in the wrong way, but the guest speaker was Anthony Page Jr. I believe that's how you say his name. I apologize if I'm butchering it. But when I tell you what he taught us last night, I was watching it on my cell phone, taking notes, and I was in my room crying. That's how much it hit me. So I reached out and I got permission today to share what ministered to my spirit because I feel like it's really important and it could minister to my audience. Or if you share this or replay it to somebody, it can minister to them. You never know what someone learns may help somebody else. I'm always willing to learn, and I'm always willing to share the information. So last night, we were taught about when we're in sin or when we're sinning. Or, okay, so I'm just going to say it my way. Many of you guys have heard me say in regards to my previous marriage that I allowed the enemy to run wild because due to where I was with my walk of God and my disobedience, I opened that door. And of course, the enemy walked in and that affected everybody in the household, me, my ex-husband, and my children. So let me tell you guys this. Have you ever thought that with you being further in your walk with Christ and you involve somebody else into sin, whether it's sex outside of marriage, whether it's you guys stealing something or robbing somebody or killing somebody or committing adultery or whatever the sin is that you make that person unclean. Have you ever thought about that? That they may be pure. Let's say that this is a young Christian. And when I say young Christian, I mean they're barely beginning their relationship with Christ. So, they're fresh, they're out the gates, they're learning. They don't know as much as you do. And we're only responsible for what we know. So the fact that you know and you're still committing the sin, you're responsible for that. But when you're involving other people in your sin, have you thought about the fact that you're making them unclean and you're making them like sin and you're making them unclean? I've never thought about that before. I've never thought about in the past when I've done things that me involving innocent people, pure people, and what I'm doing, that I'm making them unclean. That was a wow moment for me when I learned that last night. It was like, wow, wow. Let me ask you this. A lot of us have been given gifts, we've been given talents. Everything that we touch should prosper. We should be bearing fruit. Have you ever wondered what's hindering your prosperity? What's stopping you from that vision that you have from it coming true? Well, I'm going to tell you what I learned, and I'm going to tell you why. I learned that when you sin, you allow yourself to be impregnated with certain things. Being so angry, depression, battling with suicide, all of those negative things you allow in your spirit because you have sinned. You've involved yourself in some type of sin. And then you wonder why, which you should be birthing out, the purpose, the prosperity, that business, that ministry, whatever it is, it's not prospering. You're not bearing fruit. You feel like you're stagnant, that you're not going forward. You feel like, okay, I take 7 steps forward, but then I'm taking 10 steps backwards. That's because of what you have allowed yourself to be involved with, the door that you have opened by your sin. That's something that I never thought about. There have been a lot of times in my life when I want to do something and I wanted to prosper. Or, like, for example, with school, I graduated high school in 2005. I got my associate's degree 2016, I believe it was. I'm just now working on my bachelor's. I never could understand why I couldn't focus, and I was always procrastinating, which is something I'm still battling with now. I've been praying on it, to get that procrastination spirit off of me, because I'm hindering myself and I'm blocking blessings by not moving in a way and in a fashion that I should be. But I never knew why. Or sometimes out of nowhere, I would just be so depressed, so angry for no reason, just waking up. And waking up is a blessing because no one is promised tomorrow. So when you just wake up angry for no reason, you wake up and you have so much to be thankful for, but you're still just complaining and you're depressed and you're miserable and you just cannot prosper, can't move forward in life. But you never think about that sin that you did. You never think about your moment, you're now, where you're at, if you're living outside of God's will. Let me tell you a scary thing. If you're comfortable outside of God's will, that's scary. That's really scary. Nobody should ever be comfortable outside of God's will. You should be uncomfortable, if anything. You should be trying to figure out how to get back inside of God's will. Because when you're outside of his will, yes, he gives us grace. Yes, he gives us favor. But there's always consequences. Everything that we do, whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, there's always a consequence to every action. There's a reaction. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. I know that everything that I've been through in my life, all of the mistakes that I've made, everything that I've done, it was all necessary. I needed to build that testimony so that I can come and do what I do now and share it to help somebody else. I've learned that we go through what we go through, our trials and everything. It's not for us necessarily. It's for the kingdom and the greater good of going back and helping someone else. Yes, some things are shameful. Yes, some things you sit there and you think, why? But it was all necessary. But then to learn that because of my sins, because of the things that I was doing, because of me being outside of God's will, I opened up for these spirits and these negative things of the enemy to be inside of me, to be inside of my household. You never know when the spirits are me who it can jump on. I have kids. I don't want spirits jumping for me on my children. You know, that's why I know a lot of people pray over their household, pray over their doorposts so that spirits don't feel comfortable coming in. But when you learn that because of your sin and the things that you did outside of God's will, you're hindering yourself, you're hindering your blessings, you've impregnated yourself with all of these negative things, that's a big wow moment. And when I learned that yesterday, I started to cry. And, he said to raise your hands. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, to stop, to raise your hands just like this. And to ask God to abort those things out of you. I'm not a pastor, or I don't have like a title like that. I try to do whatever God tells me to do. I'm not looking for a title. But if you're watching this or you're watching the replay, take the time, put your hands up, and ask God to abort all of those negative things out of you, out of your spirit. Ask him to purge you. That way you're clean and you're pure, and all of those negative things are gone, and he's able to pour into you the positive things that he wants. That way that business that you want can birth. Maybe your children are going crazy and you don't know why. Your husband or your wife is going crazy. Everything around you is going crazy and you don't understand. You're not bearing fruit. You're not prospering. Ask God to purge you and to abort all of those negative things out of you. And I guarantee you're going to see the difference. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be attacks. Whenever you try to follow God and to be obedient and to be inside of God's will, the enemy is always going to trip you up. Always. But something else that I learned, he's not that smart. He's going to tempt you with something that he knows that you liked, or a previous temptation that you failed on. Send him to the drawing board to where he has to come up with something new. Trick him. Don't allow him to continue to trip you up with the same thing. If you don't know it, the world that we're living in, it's crazy. So many things are going on. We don't know if God's going to come back like in the next 5 minutes, and you just want to be ready. Take that time with God. Stop this recording, or when it's done, take that time with God and allow him to purge you. Allow him to pour into you. Lay out. Sometimes we carry a heavy burden and he tells us to give it to him. Give all that baggage to him. All that heaviness, all that hate, all that pain, all that anger. Give it all to him. Allow him to purge everything out of your system. And watch what he pours into you. Watch when after you do that and you put that faith in him and you take that first step, you have that mustard seed of faith. Watch how everything prospers. Don't allow the enemy to trick you into messing up your own blessing. He can't mess up our blessings. Only we can do that. Now's the time to dig deeper. Get in your word more. Pray more. Cover your household. Cover your children. Because it's getting bad. And you don't want to be caught and you're not right. You are responsible for those connected to you. I'm responsible for my children. I'm responsible to those connected to me. I'm responsible to the souls that were assigned to me. So I have to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do. I was able to spend the whole day with my mom today, but it was so heavy on my heart to come on here and to share this with you guys. And it's late. And, I came home, I put my dinner on, and I'm like, all right, I have to share this with people because I don't learn something to keep it to myself. I'm learning so I can help others and I can teach others. And when I learned that, I was just like, wow. I put my hands up and immediately, even though he was praying and he was talking, I put them up immediately. And I asked God to abort all of the negative things that are in me. I'm not a perfect person. Yes, I have this platform. Yes, I'm an author. Yes, I'm the CEO of a ministry, but I'm still human. I'm still a wife. I'm still a mom. I'm still a student. I'm still a daughter. I'm still a sister. I'm still a friend. I'm still learning. None of this makes me perfect. But I try every day to be better than the last day. And today, I'm telling you, my sisters, my brothers, my mothers that I have on here that are watching, purge it, purge it, purge it all out. It's not worth it. It's not worth your soul. It's not worth the assignment that God has given to you that you cannot complete because of your sin. Let Him pour into you. Be full of Christ and all of the blessings that you're supposed to have. Not of the things of the enemy or the hurt, the anger, the pain. Let that go. It's not worth it. Thank you guys, and you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.